Welcome to the Success Resequencing Project. I'm Debbie Ponticus.
And I'm Jenn Newman.
Join us as we challenge the traditional definitions of success so you can build a fulfilling path of your own.
Get ready for inspired, candid conversations while gaining tools, inspiration, and confidence to create your own authentic success story. Hey.
Hello.
I mean, what's going to come out of our mouths today?
Well, that's to be
determined.
To be determined.
Okay, great.
Yeah. All I know is that I like you.
I like you too.
Thanks. And I think that that's like why I love doing this, and because we've been able to like just really lean into the fact that, you know, it's sometimes good to just find your tribe and find the people that get you. And then also don't get you, but they don't judge you for that.
I was going to say,
like,
bless those people.
Listen, you can still be my friend, even though I say stupid things.
Same.
So yeah.
Okay.
That's
I appreciate that. Yeah. I've been thinking a lot about that lately in terms of how important community is.
I was thinking about me saying stupid things.
Yeah, that. Okay.
Yes.
Well, there's that.
Yeah.
That's me. I just check that off the list every morning when I wake up.
Lordy.
I've been thinking a lot about how tribes change. The you know that expression, reason, season, lifetime, like person's in your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime.
Oh, yeah.
You know me and the cliches.
I know. I love them.
Gotta love just a good cliche. But I say that because I've thought a lot lately about how that evolution, what that means and looks and feels like, and how it just changes over time. Like how blessed I feel in my own life to have people like you. I have my soul sisters, right, who are just in my life, who've been there forever. And I've been blessed with some rich, beautiful friendships. And I have also had friendships ebb and flow. They've come and they've gone, right? They were there. Maybe I thought they would be there forever and then they weren't, et cetera. But I also have been thinking a lot about what that looks like in terms of business, in terms of our creative paths, about what that looks like to surround yourself with people. It's not to be so like-minded that you don't have a different perspective. That creeps me out. Yeah. That feels a little culty. Okay. Yes. Like I'm not here for that. I love the idea, and and you and I know this, like we don't see eye to eye on everything, but we can talk about it all.
Right.
It's not like we go, oh, I can't talk to her about that.
Right. Oh, I'm not going to hang out with her. She's going to get triggered.
Yeah, exactly. Trigger warning. But I really think there's something to be said for, sometimes that's all that has to come to the table first is respect.
Yeah.
To be able to show up and say, I honor who you are and you honor who I am. We have mutual respect. So that means that already covers a multitude of sins, right? Like it's...
Well, and, you know, if we go back in time, you know, our relationship didn't start off great. But I think we just had this idea of, or this inkling that like we're not being told the truth about each other, right? And so
we were pitted against each other.
We were pitted against each other, but there was something like, I remember specifically when I first met you, like I totally loved your vibe. Like I was like,
from
oh my
minute
God,
one.
Like she is my jam. And we were just talking about this a few minutes ago about finding like-minded people and how we approach business and how we approach our lives. It doesn't mean you have to agree on everything, but when you disagree, you look at it as a learning opportunity. Yeah. You know, and so that's what I think is so precious about those specific relationships, like the one that you and I have, is that we allowed ourselves space to get to know each other. Yeah. You know, and then once we got to know each other, we have a core respect for each other, which allows us to be more open to differing opinions.
Very true.
You know, if we just were stuck in a room together and given a topic to talk about that we didn't agree on and we didn't know each other, I don't know that we would have the same outcome, right?
I think that's what happens when people, let's put a pin in that for a second, because I also think the other component that I want to talk about here is, why are women always pitted against each other? It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Friendships with women can be some of the most powerful there are, right? Women can conquer the flipping world. And yet there is it starts at such a young age where girls are meant to be, it's like this competition piece, the clickiness, the mean girls crap. Like, I remember Lila going into that age in school, and I just wanted to wrap her in bubble wrap. I wanted to also just check out and pray to baby Jesus that was not going to be the worst years of her life. And they were really tough.
Yeah.
Because girls can be so flippin' mean.
Right.
And then why do we think that automatically then we're going to move into adulthood and just all of a sudden then get along again? Like, it's such a dumb structure,
I know,
right?
I know.
And girls can be just horrific. And honestly, we were pitted against each other. It was that typical scenario of two strong women. Ooh.
Yeah, but here's what I think. I don't think it was necessarily done with intent. You and I were put in a very competitive atmosphere.
Sure.
And it was a, very male dominated atmosphere.
Yep.
And I'm not saying that, it's just men are wired differently than women.
Yeah.
We all know this. That's men are from Mars, women from Venus, all of that kind of stuff.
Oh my God. Yeah. If that does not date you and I
know.
You remember when that book came out?
Yes.
Revolutionary, groundbreaking. It was pink and purple.
Yep.
The cover was pink and purple.
Yep.
What was his name again?
Well,
crap.
Don't ever ask me to remember a name.
I was going to say John Walsh, but that was the guy
John Walsh was the kid who
Adam.
Which we're not. Listen, we're not laughing at that. We're just laughing the fact that we completely got that mixed up. Yes,
we are not laughing.
No,
John Gray. John,
maybe. Don't again. Okay. You're looking at me like I'm going to miraculously know this.
Okay,
I don't know this.
Boxes are bags. Doesn't
someone
matter.
can just email us or send us a message on who that is.
Who wrote "Men Are from Mars, Women Are from Venus"? But yes, that was like this groundbreaking, revolutionary idea that we were all different,
right?
Which is true.
It's so true. So that's I think women just we need time to get to know each other. We are very relational.
Yeah.
Where men are transactional, I believe. Like, that's to really simplify it. Really, and it's much more complicated than that.
We're married to men that are very relational people. So
yes.
It's a little, we don't.
I'm using very broad,
Are you stereotyping, Deborah?
Yes. Absolutely.
Okay. There it is.
Yep. So there have it.
But you were right that in that environment that we were in, very male dominated, where the culture, especially in sales, is very much like rah, rah, rah. Like,
and it was not, I guess to say pitted against each other, we use that term, but I think from their standpoint, it was encourage competition, right?
Yes.
They were very and still are very much about competition, right? And we internalize that differently.
Yeah.
Right? We get defensive when someone wants to compete with us.
Yeah.
Because we would rather just collaborate.
Right.
No, when I say we, I'm saying about you and I.
Yes.
Right? Because there are women out there that are very competitive and stuff like that. So I'm not saying this isn't more of about women, but I think from you and I, we grow by collaboration and by having things in common.
Yeah.
And being able to empathize and sympathize with each other on certain things. So that's where once we were able to kind of get to know each other and we were like, oh, wow, this is...
Joke's on us,
right? So why I think that this is an important thing to talk about is, it's important to find those people in your life that, people call them tribes or, I don't know what else people call them, but
your group,
your
people.
Yeah, your people, your tribe, your whatever. And to, surround yourself with people like that, I think that is an environment that can really breed growth and fulfillment and, just...
Well, it rises, it lifts everybody up, right? Instead of it feeling like... I think that's what I just go back to those younger years and not being a girl who, I was never the one with I don't know how to say it. I was always an old soul and always, I was processing my own crap anyway. So I also was just kind of like not in the thick of like, let's get together and braid each other's hair. I was what? Right. I don't understand what that means.
Yeah.
Like, it just didn't resonate with me. And I was so fixated and focused on my music that was really my best friend.
Yeah.
right? Was that. And so practicing, focused on music, playing the piano, singing, choirs, all of that. That was my fixation.
Yeah.
And so I had my friends through that, but I wasn't the girl that had the long hair and like dressed the part. I looked like, we really should put it in the show notes. I looked like...
We need to put both of our pictures from 5th grade.
I really think we do.
The show
I think
notes.
that...
Let me describe.
I looked like Dustin Hoffman and Tootsie. I looked like a middle-aged drag queen. And I looked like a librarian.
I looked like an overweight poodle. Is what we have to like somehow put these into the video or something like this because
we have to give them a name.
I was in 5th grade. I was in Weight Watchers because I was overweight. So just imagine, right? And then
did you perm your hair?
I crimped it.
Oh, you crimped it. Even
Thank
better.
You very much. So I have a lot of hair, right? So it's very thick. And so when you crimp thick hair, it's like, oh, what was the character that Rosanna Dana. Yeah. Yeah.
Gilda Radner.
Yep.
Epic.
So I had that hair on a chubby face. It's good.
And you felt it. I did not own a pair of jeans until I was in the 10th grade. So I wore like old lady clothes. Like I literally looked like, I can't explain it.
Like smocks and muumuus and like, what do you mean?
No, I didn't go, I wasn't like Mrs. Roper. Like I wasn't so much that, but there is there's an infamous picture. I'll find this picture too. That is of this group of girls having a birthday party. And I'll never forget the first time I showed Jim the picture. I said, can you pick me out in this group? And he's looking through the photo. I think there were like 7 or 8 girls. And he's looking. He's like, no, but whose mom is there? And I was like, that's me. Actually, that's me. And I had on like a blouse. Like, you know what I mean? By like an 80s blouse. Like I had a blouse with a tied like neck bow.
You were
like,
Tootsie.
No, I was Tootsie. I had on like a long skirt. I had the heels on that had do you remember back in the 80s, the clip-on bows that you could put on your shoes?
Oh,
right.
yeah.
So I had like black shoes with red clip-on bows. I had a red blouse. Like,
this is awesome.
I really look back and I'm like, a therapist would look at this photo and be like, we need to intervene. Like
it's something's
going, we've got red flags going off here. Okay. She looks like she's 82 and she's in 5th grade. Okay. Short hair, the glasses. It was a real scene.
Oh my God.
It was a real
How
scene.
did we even get on this?
I'm not sure.
But
so I'm glad that we've taken everyone on that journey. Okay.
Yeah.
So when I say girls, meaning that's okay. Maybe menopause, we can blame. I was going to say menopause brain. We can blame that. No, that time in my life when all the girls were doing girly things, I was dressed like a librarian. So it was like I just never felt like I fit in.
Yeah.
And I always fit in with adults, right? Because that was my own stuff going on. Yeah. And that was just where I felt most comfortable. And so you cut to now, and it's like even in the real estate community, like as an agent, I know that my people are out there, right? We found each other. Like
right.
You've got like-minded people, but I'm not the woman that is going to project herself in a certain way. Like I've never been that girl. So I'm not that woman. Right. And that I sometimes think, or this, like, I'm a girl boss. Right. Or like, I'm like,
we don't use sex to sell. Like, sorry, clients, we don't.
No.
But,
that's a marketing strategy. And
those.
I do know
those.
Yes,
well, we don't know, but we know of them.
Yes. I do not do that. No. No, I don't. I would say also what's interesting about that, though, is it is interesting to be at this time in my life and also feel that same, I don't know, I kind of feel like it's still that awkward stage of what I felt when I didn't feel like I had really come into my own when I was younger. I always felt like I just felt a little bit out of place. And part of that is that I honor the fact that I march to the beat of my own drum on certain things. But more importantly, it's just I've never been that girl. I've not been like when we were saying girl boss and
right.
Oh, I'm rah, rah, rah. And let's all get together and wear matching pajamas. Like, I'm like, okay, that's cool. But like Jen's really going to look feral and like probably wear like totally not matching clothes, have at least 6 hot flashes during the event. And I'm going to be totally chill, just doing my thing.
Right.
It's a long way of saying it's really important to find where you belong. And if you don't really know where that is, then create it yourself.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that's that piece in my life right now where I don't like to stereotype, right? I don't want to say like a traditional girly girl. I'm not that come on.
Right. Well, I don't think I swear like I think we're more of a tomboy. Not in how we present it, but not in how we present ourselves, but more of just like
I think we had to work in a male-dominated society for a really long time. Yeah. I think you and I both going through corporate, we had to cut through, like to be taken seriously. We really had to just go and handle it. We had to get it done. We were doers and go-getters and like, let's. But
I think that's why we were good at what we did and why we currently are good at what we do is because we're emotional. We can't remove that from our DNA.
No.
We are practical at how we approach our businesses, approach our relationships, how we do it intentionally. Mm-hmm. And I think that's also come with time. Like, me 20 years ago made different decisions about the people in my life and all that than I do now.
Sure.
There's
been an evolution.
There's been an evolution. Yeah. Like you always say, there's a season for everything.
Yeah.
And these different like evolutions of your friends in your life. And some are lifelong friends and some are there for a reason. But you realize that your emotional capacity develops over time, like to be able to handle different things.
Yep.
And then you also are just done putting up with things that you realize, oh wait, I don't have to put up with that.
As my friend Kate calls it, the bullshitometer totally just changes. It recalibrates.
Yeah.
It first starts when you have kids. You're like, I don't have time for this shit.
Right.
And then you start to get older and then you really don't have time. It's like, I don't have time for bullshit.
Right. I think we also have an ometer. I'm not going to know
bullshitometer.
Bullshitometer, but I'm a bullshitometer. We got a bullshitometer. Jen just snorted and I said bullshitometer. But it's more of an ometer for like we're not going to be pushed around anymore.
Ooh.
So a
intimidometer.
Okay. Like I feel like we have gotten really confident in our skin. And
there is something about the late 40s that'll do that to you.
Yeah. And I'm just like, no, I'm calling bullshit on that. And I'm not going to let you push me around on that.
No.
So,
It's almost like a non-compromisometer. Like, it's just like, wow.
We're going to have a lot of ometers.
I was going to say, and looking next for our swag. Yeah. But in all seriousness, I think that is very true. I think there's been a lot of experience. Plus, we've been building businesses, right? And we've just learned it's time, it's age, it's seasoning, right? Like just, it really is true. And to step in with confidence and also to not be threatened by another woman's confidence.
Right.
Like, what the hell's that about? I don't understand that. Like, oh, so-and-so, this woman's doing it this way. And oh, now we got to tear her down.
Right.
Why?
Because you're intimidated and you're not willing to just get to know the person. I think that is a lot of it. I've been guilty of doing that.
I've been guilty of it many times. And then I look at it and go, it's typically because they were at least brave enough to do it. Of things I was only thinking about. Right. And they may execute it totally differently. Who cares? They had the courage to go do it. Like that to me is something we should be applauding.
Yeah.
And instead of tearing it down.
Yeah. I just watched the Netflix on Martha.
Did you just say Netflix?
No. What's up with all the nuts here? No. Netflix on called Martha, the Martha Stewart thing.
I've watched it 3 times.
It's such a good show, and it through the whole show I get like angry, and then I get like proud, and then I get like motivated. And like what she had to go through, there's so many things that I took away from that, where one is everything she was able to accomplish in her life and still is, you think like, oh, that'll take too long. Or I'm like, oh my gosh, no. The empires she has built, which then crashed, which she's built again, going to jail, which I'm not condoning going to jail and what all that, but like that was some struggle.
That was called a witch hunt.
Yes. Yes.
Watching that documentary, first of all, obsessed. In fact, I may go home and watch it again today because what I loved about it is that, first of all, if she were starting today, the outcome would look very different.
Mm-hmm.
We've come a long way. She really was a trailblazer. Yeah. But to watch how they went after her. Yeah. Like literally went after her. Yeah. Intentionally.
Yeah.
To bring her down. And she just kept going.
Right.
And going. And blew me away.
Yeah.
And her need for wanting things like her brand, I don't know if this was your takeaway, but you want to talk about someone who put a fence around her brand and said, if it's not authentic to this brand, it's not happening. Or that's fine, but we're not doing that until it's done at this level. Like,
right.
Not compromising at all when it came to her brand and the integrity of her brand. I don't know about you, but that's where I was like, you go.
Right.
You know, I mean, yes.
Well, and then to see how people wanted to tear her down for being like wanting to have her brand be this like the sun in the solar system.
Yeah.
Like, but it's like, it's a brilliant strategy, but people made it about her and not about the idea of how you actually can build a brand. And if my name is on it, you better believe
exactly
I have control over how it's going to go.
Exactly.
And then it just led into that whole, what I got so frustrated about was, you know, the era that she did all of this, and it's still out there today, is this double standard that's out there for powerful women.
Exactly.
The minute you say powerful woman, and I challenge everyone who's listening to this right now, the minute I said powerful woman, you probably got the one word in your mind was bitch.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why does that have to be? And if it's every man out there that is in charge of a CEO of this or in charge of a brand or whatever, he can be the biggest jerk, but that's accepted. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying she was a jerk, right? I'm just saying, like, when you are managing something,
my God,
you have to be on top of it. Like, my favorite part was when she got so mad about the person with the teacup.
Oh my God.
And she was like, why can I not yell at like idiocracy?
Right.
Like, you can't even put your finger in the teacup. Like, that to me, and the fact that people called her a bitch because she was being that way, I'm like, that's called managing a brand.
Exactly.
And like, why are we now having to be? And I think what's different in today's society than what she had to put up with is now everyone's a victim. And it's like, you can't say anything negative about that person. You can't discipline. You can't do this without someone raising a flag or coming in and saying, well, I'm going to sue you for that. Or what, I don't even know, like all the different things. Like, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but it's like, can you imagine like what she'd have to go through now?
The woman that she yelled at for using the wrong knife
for the orange.
That moment is so epic to me. It's iconic to me because I'm like,
everyone needs to go out and watch this show. Martha, we love you.
But
like,
what I love about that moment is that it's all about efficiency, right? And she's like, now granted, I mean, it's taken it to the nth degree, but there was a part of me that was like, you know what? I've thought that.
Yeah.
And then I've been like, okay, well, let's not do it this way. No, she was like,
just like, no, what are you doing? This is stupid.
Right, exactly.
Like, you don't cut an orange with a butter knife or whatever.
I think about some of the men that I worked with when I was first starting out in corporate. Oh my God. Some of the things that got said to me, and you know what? You took it because you're like, oh shit. Like, okay, yeah, you got it. Like, I'll do it differently next time. Or you would watch the shit hit the fan in a conference room full. I worked for a government contractor. And so there's all these military men in there. We're all secret clearances. We're all behind closed doors. I mean, the shit got wild. And I say that because I learned so much, but nobody was afraid to say, they just said it.
Yeah. Like, we need to remove the filters and people need to stop taking things so damn personally.
But I would also say, like, or let's go back to saying things in a way that actually gets the point across without it being about tearing someone down.
Fair.
I think we've gone too far in both extremes.
Sure.
Right.
But you have to be able to just call someone out for being stupid sometimes. I'm sorry. Like sometimes you just have to be like, that was just dumb. Like, don't be dumb.
So do you believe there are dumb questions?
Yes.
You're like, there is such thing as a dumb question. Yes. Okay, fair.
Yeah. I mean, listen, my kids have them all the time.
I have them half the time. I'm like,
how do I turn the light switch on?
It's my favorite thing.
Whatever. I'm like, oh
Google it.
Yeah.
Totally. Well,
so yes, but I don't know. So it's just, to me, I think like you and I think are in this kind of season of realizing how much we've accomplished and how proud we should say how proud we are of ourselves, of what we've grown, the families we're raising, the relationships we have, the fact that we own multiple businesses, and that we're not done.
God, no.
And that's exciting. And like when you get in the same room and you build a friendship with someone who has that same mentality, and it's not at all, we have never once competed against each other.
That's just like, weird.
It's weird, but it's what our relationship is doing is trying to figure out how do we do more together.
Exactly.
Because when we're together, we are just, we're like, there's this energy, there's this like, okay, we can conquer the world. And people who see us together say the same things, right? So it's like, oh, wow, there's something there. And what you and I want to do is find more people like that.
Exactly.
Like there are more people like us, men or women, that have just this drive to succeed and to
an
learn.
Insatiable curiosity.
Yeah.
Like how to do it, how to be better, how to grow, how to stretch, how to do all the things.
Right. And be open to different things and open to different perspectives. And not come at it from a sense of how do I do it better than you? It's how do we do it better together?
Mm-hmm. And how do we support one another in that journey?
Yeah. And that's when you and I just get excited.
We get a little wild.
We get wild. Yeah, we get Girls Gone Wild. In your late 40s.
In our late 40s with my hot flashes and my readers. Yeah. It's a season, isn't it?
Yeah.
As my daughter said to me the other day, my daughter, well, but Lila, she like called me out on that. She was like, you keep talking about like the ship has sailed. She's like, Ma, you're 48 years old. Like, get a grip. I understand you got some gray hair, like, and you've been having hot flashes like a crazy person. Okay, I get it.
Right.
But the ship hasn't sailed.
Right.
She's like, you would never look at someone who's 48 years old and say that.
No, there's so much more.
Right.
And we've just docked.
Right. Exactly. I just took a break.
Yeah. We've docked.
I needed to go for a swim.
Yeah.
Like, it's fine. But it was an interesting point. And I think that, I don't know, that's a whole other episode that we could talk about, but I think there is this time in our life of like, you just don't have time for it. You don't have time for stuff that weighs you down. You don't have time for stuff that's not going to help you grow. People who are going to try to stand in your way and hold you back. Like, I don't have time for that. It's not, release it in love, right? Like, reason, season, lifetime. But Yeah.
Well, I think it's like the ship may have sailed on that experience. Maybe. Right? That particular emotion that you went through on doing that doesn't mean that you've stopped wanting to grow and stopped wanting to, be a better person and try new things.
No.
But you ain't going to do it the same way. Like, you're not going to be stepped on. You're not going to have someone else tell you what to do. If you're going to do it, you're going to do it yourself. Just go.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Stop waiting. Just go. And make sure you have loose fitting clothing. So when you sweat to death, you're fine.
Yes. And that way, loose fitting clothing is just the way to go for so many reasons.
Yeah. It's an interesting world, isn't it?
Yeah.
Interesting time, interesting year. We're going into, there's nothing like a new year, right?
Yep.
In this beautiful new year and season and all the good things. Here's to many more adventures and conversations.
Yeah.
I'm curious what the audience has to say. Like, what questions do you have for us?
Yeah. Like, we are literally an open book. You send us a question, we're going to answer it.
We really will answer
we'll
it.
Answer it.
Yeah. I don't think anything's off limits. No. I'll even tell you what kind of 100% cotton pajamas that I now buy for my hot flashes. Yes, I will.
Fabulous. Find us on Amazon Shop for menopausal pajamas.
I've been served multiple ads this week.
Oh, well, we will all now.
Everybody will. So be prepared.
Yeah.
Yes. But
good.
We're there.
All right. Well, let's do this.
That's one way to end it.
Thanks for joining us. If you loved this episode and know of someone who would find value in it, please spread the word and share it with a friend. We are passionate about redefining success, and it would mean the world if you could help us get our mission out to as many people as possible. Please take a minute to write a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify. You can also hit the subscribe button to stay up to date with our latest episodes. Connect with us on Instagram at Success Resequencing Project or via our website at www.successresequencing.com. We'd love to hear your story.